The following program is rated D for dumb.
So much I can smell my own breath. My baby left me, my best friend's not at home. Can't get that woman off my mind. I've never been the broody kind, but there's still one thing makes me come alive. Yeah,
the following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Dumbing It Down with Dave. My name is Dave Canyon, your one and only solo podcast host for this Dumbcast in a Carcast. Again, I remind you, this is a 3-in-1 deal you are getting for the same price. It is a Dumbcast in a Carcast in a podcast. There is no other show like this in the universe. I have not heard of it. I have not seen it. So I'm going with it. So you can tell your friends, hey, when I listen to Dumbing It Down with Dave, you know what? It's not just a podcast. This guy is a pioneer. This guy is doing something nobody else in the world is doing it. And that's why it's important that you listen. That's why it's important that you share it with your world. That's why you tweet it. That's why you comment in the Spreaker box. That's why you tweet me at dumbwithdave. That's why you email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com. That's why you create intros and outros and do other things, record your little the 8 G's, when I say goodbye at the end of the show, or, a breather break or a drink break, because this show is so different. Who's doing 3 in 1? Only Dave Canyon, yours truly. Good hello to you. I was going to say good morning, but it is good morning here in New York, 10:55 a.m. It is, I don't know how many degrees it's a little chilly out, and it is Sunday morning. I am going home from work. Actually, I had breakfast with somebody. So I was done 3 hours ago. I'll talk about that if I remember in a second. We've made a little bit of an improvement in my work situation. Not a lot. Don't get too excited. I'm not excited. But I want to give credit where credit is due. So if I remember, I'll get to it. But we're not going to talk about it right now. All right? We'll get to it when I get to it. But I had breakfast with a friend, and now it's 3 hours later. I'm about to go southbound on the New York State Thruway. And guess what, folks? It is a beautiful... See, here's a recording opportunity. Dave, what's the weather like in New York? Is it a beautiful sunny day? Yes, it is, in fact, a beautiful sunny day in New York. It is. It really was not a good day on Halloween, which I could care less about. But, I mean, if you're talking about spooky and scary and life-threatening and all that, hey, there must have been a great Halloween. Why wouldn't you go trick-or-treat? Why would you dress as a scary character? I assume that, well, not everybody does that. Because I guess Captain America is not that scary, and those sexy nurse outfits that are my favorite that the women wear. When they wear it right and they look good in it, I like those sexy nurse outfits. Who doesn't like that? And they just by looking at them, they provide me with a lot of medical care. So, they right a lot of wrongs in those outfits. Nothing seems to be a problem when I see somebody in a sexy nurse's outfit. Not anybody. Sexy women. So anyway, let's put the creepy behind and move forward. So, yeah, it's kind of hypocritical, right? That you don't go out on Halloween just because it's, bad weather. You should be out there. Oh, a tree might fall on me? That's great. That's great. Actually, that's not funny because I think a kid did get hit by a branch or something. I know that happens all the time. Just like when hunters go out in the woods and they shoot each other. I know it's not funny, right? But come on. It's a little funny, right? You're out there, you got your gear, your camo. I know a guy that sits in a tree all day long, all weekend long, just to get away from his wife. He doesn't really enjoy the hunting, I know because he never shoots anything. He never brings home anything. But I think he just enjoys sitting in a tree. And I know that he's got the camo, he's got his weapons, he's got his, his whatever, the bow and arrow, or he's got the shooting thing. And I know he buys deer urine, right? He spreads the deer urine out there. So, it's funny when the guys are out in the woods and they shoot each other. I find it funny. It wouldn't be funny if it was somebody I knew. I'd be, oh, that's terrible. But I got to tell you, I'm going to be honest with you. Dave, dumbing it down with Dave Canyon is nothing but honest with you. And I like you to be honest with me. Come on. It's a little funny, right? When they shoot each other, it's a little funny. It's not funny when a kid gets hit by a tree branch or whatever and dies on Halloween. But, come on. Lightning, thunder, heavy wind, trees falling, branches, leaves blowing. It's windy, it's scary, right? That's the best time to be Halloweening. So I think it's a little hypocritical when nobody goes out for Halloween. Anyway, that's my spiel on, I'm anti-holiday. I'm not anti-holiday. I don't mind if you celebrate the holiday. I'm not into it. I'm not into Halloween. I don't want to go to any Halloween party. I did one in the last 30, 40 years, and I went easy. I went dressed as Yul Brynner. I didn't even have to shave my head. I just got a black cowboy hat. I already have these black shirts. I might have invested in a black vest. I don't even remember. I have a picture of me somewhere. I guess I should post it on the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook page. I have to go find it. I have to make a list of all the things I'm going to post and then post it, because when I get home, when this podcast is over, it's Sunday. I got to get to my life. I got a day and a half to make things right, and then I got to go back to work, probably Tuesday night. So so I get today. I'm supposed to be asleep, but I had lunch. I had breakfast with a friend, and here I am 3 hours later. We hung out and we talked, and life is good. I guess good enough. All right, Dumbing It Down with Dave. Pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. What are we going to talk about this week? Well, we're actually going to do a show I want to do. We're going to do it right now. We're not going to have that message where I say, this is the obligatory part where I say, this is not the show I want to do. There is a show I want to do, and we're going to do it. Do I want to tell you about work? I'll tell you about, hold on. Oh, I just sneezed. I paused the recording so I wouldn't sneeze on air. So anyway, let me just quickly do the work thing, and then we'll get to the show I want to do. Quickly, the work thing is, I think last week I left work. I was really angry because nobody helps. Nobody does anything. Everybody just goes home and blah, blah, blah. Well, today I got back, and wouldn't you know it, guys helped. People chipped in. Thank you, Pat. Anyway, 2 guys at least chipped in, and I did a little bit more at the end. There was actually one more trailer that needed to be moved, and that needed to be, but I did it anyway. And that's it. We cleaned up. We did everything. We acted as a professional organization. Can't believe I'm actually saying those words. I don't know if we acted like a professional organization, but we acted like men that have a job, and we did it right, and I enjoy that. I do enjoy being part. Yeah, no, this is still the podcast I want to do. I do enjoy, out of anything in the world, if you said, Dave, what do you want to do with your life? Do you want to do podcasting? Do you want to go back to stand-up comedy? Do you want to do commercials? What do you want to do? And I got to tell you, the true answer is yes to all of that. I want to do creative stuff. I also wouldn't mind just racing a go-kart or a car or something like that. Like to do something competitive, obviously not semi-pro football. Although if I was in shape, I wouldn't mind a tryout. I wouldn't mind if I was in shape, and if I get in shape, and I could run 10 yards without dropping dead, I might just try out for a semi-pro football team. Why not? I used to be a running back. I used to play football. A couple of crunches, I'm back in shape. A couple walks around on the treadmill, I'm back in shape. I could give me the ball. Give me the ball, coach. I'm ready to play. But ultimately, my answer would be, and you got to be careful when you answer these questions. And that's one of the things I like about Dumbing It Down with Dave. Well, that's my show. I like exploring things even deeper, even further, to really get to why, to really get to the root cause of the problem or the solution or the human behavior. I'm always talking about human behavior. At the core of it all, I almost don't care what I do. I would like to be part of a team. I would like to be part of a team where we all think alike in the goal. And we all have a role and nobody has my role. Well, maybe we do, but different variations of the same role. So, yeah, and I would like to be part of a writing team where we write, a sitcom, or because I always like a showrunner. They call that a showrunner. I'd like to be a showrunner. I'd like to be part of, even if it was a charitable thing, or even if it was a conservational thing, or it doesn't really matter. I mean, there's certain things I don't want to be, part of, I guess, even if it was a team, because it wouldn't be fun. But I'd like to work with other people, and we all work together. I think that is why I'm very supportive, if I could toot my own horn. I'm very supportive in my podcast walk, in my daily walk. But in my YouTube and podcast walk, I'm very supportive. Oh, by the way, that was Hal that you heard at the beginning of the show. That's Hal in Philly. Hal in Philly is his Twitter handle. His podcast is Tales of the Road Warrior. Last week I played the entire 4-minute song. This week I tried something. It sounded a little rough, but I cut right into this song. Hal's gonna create some more possibilities for me. And then I cut right into the applause, and then I went right into the Alex Exum thing, who does the voice at the top of the show, and now he does the voice near the top of the show, alexexum.com, and the AI voice that you may or may not hear before the end of the show. Oh, no, you have already heard. You heard Hazel? That was either Hazel or Emma. That's Linda from Awesome Insanity Surfers. So, yeah, the podcast. And you still have a chance to listen to all her shows and catch up and hear the mystery arc that she did over the last several months, as she did it all by herself. An incredible artist, an incredible producer, and a great podcast, and a wonderful human being. So, I think that's why I do it. That's why I was part of this breakfast mastermind, this podcast breakfast mastermind. I like being part of something. Don't you? Don't you like being part of something? Is there something that you do, if you could want to leave it in the Spreaker box, is there something that you do that helps you be part of something? Or do you like just being an individual? Because there's a difference between being an individual and being a one-way. Being a one-way is you do it for yourself, you don't do it for anybody. You can still be an individual and do it for other people, right? I mean, I'm somewhat of an individual. Dumbing It Down with Dave is basically an individual thing. Hal in Philly gives me the intro. Alex gave me an intro. Linda helps with the voices, but it's still my show. But these people aren't here to help me with Dumbing It Down with Dave. But it's nice to feel part of a community, especially in this world where we're so polarized, right? We're so divisive. Is that the word? We're divisive. We're polarized. Speaking of polarized, I need some sunglasses. It is really sunny out, folks. It's very sunny. I'm southbound on the thruway. I got to tell you, it's a beautiful day in New York. And by the way, I think I might have mentioned this. I might not have mentioned it. Yes, we're still doing the show I want to do. A couple of episodes ago, I said it would be great if I had an editor to go through all my shows. And when I say it's a nice day in New York, to edit it out. I don't know if I made this clear. I didn't mean to edit it out like take it out. I meant to make a compilation of all the times I talk about the New York weather. And I'm telling you, it's an insane high percentage. 80%, 90% of me saying it's a beautiful day in New York. I think that's fascinating. And again, if I did the show on Thursdays, it would not be that. Because on Thursdays, apparently it rains because my lawn guy hasn't come in 2 months. And he keeps on telling me because it's raining. Or, whatever. Or rained the night before, so the ground is wet. But Thursdays is not often a good day. Not in the last couple of months. Not since I offered to pay a guy to do my lawn. So this way, I don't have to worry about it, which is really great. I love not doing my lawn. But Sunday is just fantastic. It's so sunny out. I'm going for a drive now. I hope I go for a walk, maybe get some exercise today. So anyway, there's that. Yeah, I like to be part of something. I would love for somebody to call me out of the blue and say, I want you to co-host my show. Or I want you to help me create, or whatever. And I've enjoyed some of the consulting I've done. I've actually helped other people start their podcast. I've actually been on the phone with people for not just 5 minutes, like a half an hour, going through all these bullet points, showing them how to be a pragmatic podcaster, which Dave Canyon would like to be known as the pragmatic podcaster. Because there's a way of doing this without the bells and whistles and without, splitting up with your wife or your husband and ignoring your kids and losing time at your job and not getting sleep and spending money and making mistakes. There's a way of doing all this. Not a lot of people know the way to do this. So in a certain way, I am an expert. I am an expert in pragmatic podcasting. You want high-tech solutions to difficult problems? I might not be your guy. Not high-tech solutions. Very low-tech. Almost no-tech. Yeah, I'm good for no-tech solutions. I'm your no-tech solution guy. I keep on reaching in deeper and deeper, trying to find things to call me. Things I can post on my website so I get hired to do even more of doing nothing. That's my goal, is to somehow do nothing. Be a pragmatic consultant of pragmatic podcasting. Anyway, basically helping people not to make a big mistake and not to spend too much money because they don't know what they're doing. And they're not going to be happy in a couple of weeks or a couple of months when they realize, oh, this was a worthless purchase. Or this, I'm not using this, or it wasn't important. I made too much of something. Because when you get into podcasting, you have no idea. There's no preparation. So having done this almost 4 years this February, I know the ins and outs of how not to make a big mistake and how not to spend too much money. But like I said, if you want high-tech solutions, I'm not your guy. I can refer you to many guys that know. I don't know. All right. Anyway, so let me tell you what happened. More of the show I want to do. This is not the show I want to do. This is the show I want to do. Is. So, Friday, was it Friday? Friday, I go home because it's my wife's birthday. So instead of going to the Planet Fitness parking lot for Dave's Fit Life, which, by the way, if you don't know, is my YouTube channel, where I live in my caravan. Yes, I said caravan, not caravan. Caravan. C-A-R-E. It's all about living in the caravan, getting fit and fitting things into my life. I tried to fit my wife's birthday in my life. So this is an interesting story because there's a series of events. So get ready. We've got 13 minutes. I need to describe to you the series of events that I thought was quite humorous and chaotic. I'm driving home. Oh, that's when I did the bonus episode. It was the previous episode. I was doing the bonus episode. I was southbound on the thruway. I was going home to give my wife her birthday gift, her card, and some flowers. And I text her. I did the podcast first because I have a rough idea when she's leaving. So I did the podcast first. But I texted her. Right, I'm sorry. I texted her right before the podcast. And I said during the podcast, the bonus episode, that my wife might call me at any minute now. I'll have to stop the podcast and come back to it. But she didn't call me. She didn't call me because and this wasn't daylight savings time yet. It wasn't, that we hadn't changed the clocks on Friday. But she woke up thinking it was 6:15 or 6:30. When in fact, after my podcast, I had called her to check to see if she had left yet. And she hadn't left because she thought it was like 6:15 and 6:30, but it was like 7:15. I think it was almost 7:30 when I called her. And I said, oh, she called me, and there was like a little echo chamber. And I said, oh, you must be at the school already because it sounds like your voice is bouncing off the walls, the cinder block walls in the hallway. And she says, no, I'm not at school. I'm home. It's only 6:15 or 6:30, whatever she said. I go, no, it's not. I'm in my car. I'm looking at my clock radio. I'm looking at my phone because I just did a podcast. It is 7:30. And she went into full panic mode. It's like, what? And no, it's not possible. So it's possible that maybe the power went out because of that windy Helloween weather we had on October 31st. And it might have disrupted the clock a little bit. I don't know. I really don't know. Or it might have thought it was because of how old the clock is. It might have thought it was daylight savings time already. It might have changed the clock, I don't know how many days ago. And for some reason, this was the day she was paying attention to it. And this was the day she thought she was early when, in fact, she was late. So I said, all right, listen, I'll be home in a couple of minutes. You want me to give you a ride to school? So this way you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get in your car. You don't have to be panicked. You can take your time. My van's all warmed up, And she's like, well, this is what she says to me. She goes, well, I have Tracy's car, but yeah, if you can give me a ride, that'd be great. And I went, wait a minute. Why would you have Tracy's car? This is a friend of hers. And she says, oh, because Kyle, my son, has our car. I'm like, okay, well, why does Kyle have our car? And she said, well, because your car, the Kia, has a flat tire. I went, what? When did this happen? How is it possible that this is happening and I don't know? It's my car. It's my Kia. I'm not driving it right now. Kyle was using it to go to work because he got a job. And she says, I don't know. He just woke up and he stole the Subaru and went to work because he just started his job at UPS. He doesn't want to miss a day. He doesn't want to be late. He doesn't want to be in trouble. I can admire that. But there was no notification that a car was being stolen in order for him to go to work, and no notification of why he didn't take the Kia. But I guess she eventually found out. And anyway, there's actually more to that story. There's actually a first day, and then there's a second day. I know it's confusing, but I don't think we don't have that much time to tell the whole story. I'm cutting off a day. But apparently this was a 2-day saga. So here's where my saga begins. I come home, I see the flat tire, I go, oh, look at that. It was only flat on the bottom, but still, it was a flat. I pull up with the Caravan, and I wait for her. I said, listen, as soon as you're ready, jump out. I'll take you to work, and then we'll figure out how you get home later. Because I didn't want her borrowing somebody else's car, not while I'm around. I don't like my business, being outside the family. Not like that. I don't like any business. I don't share good news, and I don't share bad news. It's nobody's business. It's my family's business. That's how I am. I'm a little private that way. But Dave, you do a podcast and a YouTube channel. Yeah, but I don't go. I mean, I did talk about my son. I'm talking about my family, but you know what I'm saying? I don't go making phone calls and knocking on doors and asking people to be involved in my life. We'll figure it out. So my wife gets in the car, in the van. I drive her to school, like 15, 20 minutes, and then I come back. I text my son, who's getting out of work any minute now because he only works in the morning, like 4 to 9, loading trucks, 4 to 10, 5 to whatever, sometime in the morning. I said, Kyle, call me. Call me as soon as you get out of work because I need to bring the Kia, which he knows has a flat tire, to the tire guy, and I need a ride home. But I'm not going to leave the house until I know that you get this message because I can't rely on him, that he's definitely going to get the message and call me back. My son is very liable to not check his phone or check the phone and not care. I don't know what the truth is, but he'll come home and I'll be sitting there at the tire store waiting for him to pick me up, and he'll say, oh, I didn't know. And I don't want to be stuck there because they told me they couldn't fix the flat right away. I'd have to leave it for a day, possibly overnight, for a flat tire. Yeah, I know. It sounds crazy, right? Yeah, but they said they were busy. They were packed. All right. So I'm at the house. I parked the Caravan. I'm filling up the Kia with the tire with air. It's the rear right tire, passenger side right tire. I'm filling it up with air. I can feel the leak. And I know that there's a shiv in there. There's something in the tire. That's why it's leaking. And then my son calls me. He's doing this whole tire thing. And now I'm deciphering a whole new language. And I grew up in New York City, folks. I never heard this language. The language of exhaustion. It's like a zombie talk. It's really zombie talk. And by the way, I now come to realize what the zombie apocalypse, I was going to say accomplice, the zombie apocalypse is. It's this. It's this malaise. It's what my son is a part of, that generation of and I got air in the tire. I said, Kyle, go to the tire store and wait for me. I'm dropping off the Kia because it has a flat, and I want you to take me home. Okay. So I put air in the tire, and I start driving. And I stop at a convenience store about 3 miles down the road, and I top it off with air. Never did that before. I had to top it off. Well, 24 minutes. I got a couple minutes to finish the story. So I topped it off with air. It only lost like a pound or two of pressure from the house. I have a compressor at the house. That's why I was able to fill it up. So I said, okay, I think I'm going to make it. I think I'm going to make it all the way to the tire guy. So I pull out of the convenience store, which is the Stewart's, and I start heading down to the tire guy. I drop off the car. I fill out the paperwork, or whatever they want me to. I leave them the keys. My son's there in the Dollar General parking lot next door. I get in that car, my wife's Subaru, and I'm not going to be able to finish the story. I'm doing a horrible job of telling the story. And then we start heading home. And I think to myself, all right, we're on the way home. I haven't seen my motorcycle, which has been outside in this Grand Union parking lot for a couple of months. I haven't seen it in a couple of days because I don't go home every day. And we just had this big windstorm on Helloween, I got to make sure the bike didn't tip over. And I got to see the for sale signs, make sure everything's still attached. I had 3 for sale signs, and then somebody stole one or I lost one, and now I'm down to 1. I had 3, now I'm down to 1. All right. Anyway, so I see the motorcycle. It's fine. And I say to him, all right, Kyle, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go get my helmet and my jacket. We're going to pick up the motorcycle. We're going to bring that home. We're done. It's been out for a month and a half. Nobody's buying it. I get nibbles, but nobody buys. When we get home, I can't find the helmet. I can't find my jacket. Oh, you know what? I think it's in the Kia. I think it's in the trunk of the Kia. Where's the Kia? Back at the tire guy. Well, we're not going all the way back to the tire guy. That's not happening. All right. So I say to myself, all right, we're done, Kyle. Forget about it. It's time to go to sleep. He's got to go to sleep, and I'm going to sleep. Well, for some reason, it was a beautiful day on Friday after the big windy storm on Halloween. So I go around to the back of my house, and I open up the barn door. I call them barn doors. They're storm doors. They go to the crawl space in my basement, which has notoriously been filled with water for the last almost 30 years. But, we've had sump pumps. Then we change the sump pumps when they don't work and so on and so forth. But this last one has really worked a long time. A couple of years, 3 years, 4 years. It's really done a great job. Well, of course, I open up the doors, and what do I see? I see 1.5 feet of water. And I'm like, oh, my God. I want to go to sleep. I can't. I got 1.5 feet of water in the basement. And the hot water heater's down there. And I say to myself, you know what, Dave, it's Friday. You got to get some sleep. You got to go to work today. You'll come back Sunday. It'll be the first thing you take care of. And I was like, no, I don't want to do this Sunday. I'm going to be tired. I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be depressed. And I don't want to de-water. I'm sure there's another word for it. De-flood, whatever, my basement on Sunday. It might be a beautiful day. I might get to enjoy it. But I'm going to do it now. I call my job. I say, hey, I got 1.5 feet of water in my basement. I can't come in tonight. I'm banging out. I got to take care of this. I got to go to the hardware store. I got to get a sump pump. I can't come to work. It won't be safe. I'll be too tired. Okay. I said, if anything changes, I'll let you know. They said, okay. I go to the hardware store, and first of all, I had to go get my boots on that I haven't worn since the last time we had water in the basement, and I've gained a little weight. Those boots I didn't think would fit, but you know what? It took me about 10, 15 minutes. I got my feet in those boots. They're waterproof boots. It took me a while. It was kind of comedic to watch me try to get my fat feet in these skinny feet boots. So I went down there. I unplugged the sump pump. I took it out of the basin, with this deep basin that we made, and I bring it out, and oh my God, it was so cruddy. I should have taken a picture of it. Again, I should have taken a picture of it for the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook page, but I didn't. It was all filled with crud, rust, crud, clay, crud, whatever. It was crud. It was gross. So the motor had burnt out. I already banged out. I get in the van. I put the sump pump in a garbage bag so it doesn't leak. I get in the van. I head over to the hardware store. Thank God there was somebody there that I knew. Somebody I knew. I don't know anybody in this town. Thank God there was somebody there I knew. They knew me. I said, hey, thank God it's you. I got a problem. I got water in the basement. I guess we're going to go over 30 minutes today. I got water in the basement. I need a sump pump. Here's my old sump pump. I need a new sump pump. The guy gives me, and there's a lot of work. I'm shortening the story because we're running out of time. The guy gives me the sump pump. Everything's great. Gives me the piece that attaches, Teflon tape, shows me what to do with the screwdriver, blah, 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 blah. I go back home, and the clock is ticking. I go back home. I go down to the bay. I do everything I'm supposed to do. I'm making a long story short. I put the sump pump in the basin. I connect the hoses. I plug it in. Bammo. 3,600 gallons per hour. It's pumping out. 1/3 horsepower. It's pumping it out. Fantastic. I go out to the brook. I go see the pipe. Water's coming out of the pipe. I said, great. I go inside. I said, all right, I'm going to shower, and I'm going to go to sleep. It was like 1:15, 1:30. I'm going to make it. I'm going to call my job. I banged back out instead of banging off, whatever. I said, I'm coming in. Don't worry about it. They said, okay, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to work. I jump in the shower. I start showering with the hot water, the cold water, and whatever. And I'm like, yeah, I'm cleaning up, soapy water and all that stuff. And wouldn't you know it? The water shuts off. It just shuts off. Shuts off. And I'm like, oh. You know what I did? When I went down to the crawl space, the basement, there was a switch on the wall. And I flicked it down because I didn't want to take any chances of getting electric shock. Whatever, I was I already had fuse box shut off. I had all the shutters. Oh, yeah. So now I'm in my towel. I'm soaking wet. I go outside in my towel. It's 50 degrees. I'm in my backyard. So this fat, obese, middle-aged, bald, white guy. I'm not hairy. I'm not a monkey. I'm not a bear. I got my towel on. I walk down the steps to my crawl space. I flick the switch up. I go back into my house. Thank God I didn't lock myself out, because that would have been hilarious. And then, picture me banging on the side of the house with my son, dead asleep. I'm out there with a towel on. I get back into the shower, and I turn on the hot water. It comes out clean. I figure, now it's going to come out all dirty because I'm sucking up the bottom of a tank. Nope. Came out nice and clean, and I took my shower. I dried up. I took my melatonin and all that stuff. And then 1:53, I was in bed. 1:53. I'd gotten home. I picked up my wife at 7:30. At 7:30, I was home. I picked up my wife. 3 hours and 23 minutes later, I'm first crawling into bed at 1:53. And then I woke up 4 hours later at 5:53. And then I went to work. And that was Friday night into Saturday. And then I slept in the van Saturday for 5 hours, or maybe 5.5, 6 hours. I don't remember. And then last night I worked. And then the guys cleaned up the compound this morning. That was very nice. Nice to be part of a team that gets the job done, because I really wasn't in the mood to stay today, which I'm sure I would have, because I would have seen the compound a mess, and I would have seen money on the table. So I would have done it. And then I had breakfast with my buddy, and now here I am podcasting with you. So that's it. I just went over 30 minutes. I don't do that often. So my apologies to anybody that this inconveniences. But that was my story. That was my Dave's fit life. That was my unfit life, fitting unfitness and craziness into my schedule in lieu of sleep. So when you're wondering, what does Dave do every day? Well, sometimes you got to deal with life. And I dealt with it head on. And I took care of it. My wife got her birthday gift. I got her a box set, seasons 1 through 3 of Downton Abbey. Plus, she gets a bonus DVD of The Castle, something about the castle. I got her flowers. I got her a card, and I got her a little gift bag. It's a cute 97-cent Walmart gift bag. I fixed the sump pump. I dropped off the Kia to get the flat tire fixed. And if I had my helmet and my jacket, not even my jacket, if I had my helmet, I would have taken my motorcycle home. I would have done all of that in a span of 3 hours in lieu of sleep. But here I am, a couple of days later, up as a pup, talking about it, going over my time. All right, folks, I hope you enjoyed the show. It was fun to do. We'll see you next episode.